Hello everyone, if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel, and if you've been here before, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here, and I am grateful for your awesome support for this channel. Please subscribe if you're yet to subscribe, like, share and comment. Today, we'll be learning how to draft a basic knit block, the professional way, and from this block, we'll create a pattern for fitted t-shirt. The knit block is a foundation block used as a starting point for making garments with stretch fabrics. From this block, you can create so many amazing and beautiful designs of your choice. So let's get started. For this project, we only need basic items like pattern paper. You can even use wrapping paper, which you can buy very easily. You need a pencil, marker pen, paper scissors. I'll use the marker pen to go over the pencil mark so that you can see it more clearly. We need measuring tape, ruler, the instruction manual and measurement chart, which I have prepared for you to make it easier for you to follow along on this video. So go ahead and download it using the link in the description below, and also take and write down your measurement and have all this to hand. You need scotch tape in case you need to tape your paper down. Once you have cut out your pattern, you will also need fabric scissors as you will lay your pattern and cut out on fabric. And of course, you need the fabric. I have a number of fabrics like this which I have used for this project. So here are some t-shirts I have made using this pattern. I hope this tutorial will help you create beautiful and professionally cut fitted t-shirts for yourself. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. By now, you should have downloaded and have your measurement chart to hand. So let's take our measurements. So before you start, you take a string and tie around your natural waist to help you with the reference point for the vertical measurements. So you take the front shoulder height. This is how you take the front shoulder height from the high shoulder point to the waist. Then you take the center front length from the base of the neck to the waist where you tie the string. Across chest measurement. Then you take your shoulder length. Your shoulder length is from the base of your neck to the top of the shoulder there. So just like this. That's your shoulder length. The side length is from just under the armhole to the waist. Now for the back measurement, you take the back shoulder height from the high shoulder point to the waist. That is your back shoulder length. And then your back center length from the nape, there's a bone that you have around here. So from that position of that bone to the waist, that is your center back length. Then your across back is from this measurement from here to there. So you take it just like this. Now your bust circumference. So the bust circumference, you take that at the fullest part of your bust, making sure to keep the tape measure straight at the back. Okay. Then your waist measurement, you take that around your natural waist, like that. You also take your hip measurement as an additional measurement to maybe just your hip area or before your hip. So you take that hip measurement. Now you also need to take the length, like where you want it to the hem to reach. So here was your center back length, so you extend that measurement to the length that you want for your t-shirt. It could be 21, 22, 24, depending on, you could even make it into a dress. It depends on whatever length you want for it. For the sleeve, you need your overarm length. So you take from the top of your shoulder there to your wrist. That's your overarm length. And you take your underarm length from your underarm, which is your armpit area, to the wrist, like that. So you also need your arm circumference. So you take your arm circumference like that around your arm. Your elbow circumference. So you take your elbow circumference. Around there, and then your wrist circumference. And that's all the measurements you need. We cut our pattern paper or wrapping paper enough to cover our measurements. I have folded it as we are drafting the upper part first. We are drafting the back first. Our first step is to draw the back shoulder height measurement, which is our line A to B. And this line will also serve as our center back line. I'm using a measurement of 16¼ inch. This is point A and this is point B. Next, square across from A to C to draw the shoulder line. We use half of our across back measurement. Mine is 7½ inches. So this is line AC. Next, square down 1¼ inches from point C to D. This is the same for all sizes, but you can reduce if you are using shoulder pads. So write point D. From point D, we draw our shoulder length measurement. Mine is 5 inches. To mark point E. A to E is now your back neck width. Now mark your center back line. Starting from point B, we mark center back measurement. Mine is 15½ inches. This is point F. I'll go over all the points in marker pen. Now we'll draw a center back line. And this is our shoulder line. Our next step is to create the back neck curve. So we connect E to F for the back neck curve. We square out a small distance from F and then connect from E to F for the back neck curve. So I'll go over it in marker pen. Some people find pattern drafting intimidating, but it really should not be so. This is the reason why I've created step-by-step instruction manual we can tick off as we go along. And you see we're halfway there with drafting the back. Our next step is to mark F to G. This is half of our center back line. So for me, it's 7¾ inches. This is about half of my center back line. So from point G, we square out to point H, the distance of our quarter bust measurement. So this is point H. And this is our armhole line or bust line. Next, we mark our across back reference point at point I. And this is half of F to G. So from point I, we square out to point J, using our across back measurement minus ¼ inch. So this is point J. Next, we mark the same distance of G to K, same as I to J. Now we square down from point J to K. I'll go over all the points in marker pen. Next, we are going to draw a diagonal line from K to L at a 45 degrees angle of 1 inch. So this measurement can be increased or reduced depending on your bust size. Now we draw our back armhole curve. So we're connecting point D to J to L to H for our back armhole curve. The next step is to mark our waistline B to M, the same distance as G to H, which is our quarter bust measurement. We mark this point M. Now we connect from M to H for the side seam line. This is the waistline, and this is the armhole or bust line. The back bodice is now completed. Next, we extend it to our desired length. For instance, my desired length is 22 inches and my back shoulder height is 16¼ inches. So I will extend it by 5¾ inches. Now I will square out by the quarter of my hip measurement less ½ inch, as this is not quite at my full hip. Next, connect to point M. Now you can taper at the waist to create your desired fit. You can use your waist measurement, or in this case I'm using 3/4 inches, and then redraw the sides like this. I'll go over it in marker pen. The next thing I'm doing is creating the outline for my neckband on here. I want my neckband to be a width of 3/4 inches, so that's what I'm marking here. I'll go over it in marker pen. So you can now cut it out, or you can use pattern tissue to trace out and then apply your seam allowances all round. Now we're drafting the front. Our first step is to draw the AB line, just like we did at the back. Our AB line in this case is the front shoulder height measurement, and mine is 17 inches. So this is point A and this is point B. Next, we square across from A to C to draw the shoulder line. We'll still use the half of our cross back measurement, but minus ¼ inch. So mine is 7¼ inches. Next, mark 2 inches down from point C to D for shoulder slope point. Now connect D to E with your shoulder length measurement. Mine is 5 inches. So this is point E. Now mark your center front line B to F. In this case, it is 14 inches. So starting from point B. Now this is point F. Next, we'll draw a diagonal line from point A to A1, using the same distance as A to E. We'll now connect E to A1 to F for our front neck curve. So this is my front neck curve. I will go over all the points we have created so far. A to B, A to C, C to D, D to E, B to F, A to A1, E to F. And I'll tick off all the steps. Now I'll go over all the points in marker pen. And also our center front line, our shoulder line, and then our front neck curve. So our next step is to mark B to G. This is the same distance as B to G on our back block. So we measure B to G on our back block, and this for me is 7¾ inches. So we mark that. This is point G. Now from G we square across to H, the distance of our quarter bust measurement, which is 9¼ inches. So this is point H. Next we mark our point I, which is our across chest line reference point, so it's halfway between F and G, so that is point I. Now we square across to point J using half of our cross chest measurement minus a 1/4 inch. So this is point J. Now we measure the same distance G to K. And now this is point K. Now we square down from J to K. Next, we draw a diagonal line from K to L at a 45 degrees angle using a distance of 1 inch. This measurement can be increased or reduced depending on your bust size. The main objective is to achieve a smooth curve. So this is point L, and we'll now connect all these points to create our armhole, front armhole curve. So here we have our front armhole curve. Now we are almost done. So now we're creating our waistline. We square out the same distance from point G, the distance of our quarter bust measurement, and that is point M. Now we connect M to H to complete the side seam line. This is our waistline, this is our armhole or bust line, and the front bodice is now completed. Next, we extend it to our desired length as we did at the back. Now we square out by the measurement of the quarter of my hip measurement less half an inch, as this is not quite at my hip, just like we did at the back. Now connect to point M. Now you can taper at the waist to create your desired fit. Here I'm using 3/4 inches and then redraw it like this. Redraw the sides like this. Next thing I'm doing is to create the outline for my neck band, just like we did at the back. I want my neck band to be a width of 3/4 inches, so that's what I'm marking here. So I mark 3/4 inches all round. I'm marking it out in marker pen. So this is the full pattern completed, both front and back. I've gone ahead and traced out on pattern tissue and applied my seam allowances all through. Some people prefer to apply their seam allowances on fabric, but I find that sometimes you could forget. So I like to apply the seam allowances on the pattern before cutting out. So here, when you're applying your seam allowances at the neck, make sure you place the seam allowance over the plan for the neck band, just like this. So you see I'm marking a 1/4 inch over that neck band line. And then cut it out. So they are both ready now, and you can see that the armhole curve gives us a nice smooth curve there. Next, we are drafting the sleeve. I cut out a rectangle of paper enough to cover my measurement. Now I fold it in two. By now you should have your instruction manual. Now, following the crease line, we'll draw the AB line, which is our overarm length. So here I'm using 23.5 inches. This is point A and this is point B. The next step is to draw the BC line. So starting from B, we take the underarm length measurement plus 1 inch. I'm using underarm length of 16.75 inches plus 1, so that is 17.75 inches. So that is point C. Now at point C, we square across to the left and to the right for our arm circumference. So mine is 12 inches, so square across 6 inches to the left and 6 inches to the right. And this is point D and this is point E. Next, we mark our elbow point by taking half of B to C. So at point F, we square across half of our elbow circumference to the left and to the right. So halfway and halfway of our elbow circumference. Now this is point G and this is point H. Now at our wrist, we square across for our wrist line using half of our wrist measurement. Now this is point I and this is point J. Now I've gone ahead to draw the wrist line, which is our I to J. Now I will label all the points we've created so far in marker pen. This is our elbow line and our wrist line. This is our underarm line or our arm line. This measurement is for the sleeve cap depth. Next, we draw line I to K through points G and D, but it might not necessarily touch G, so don't worry about that. And now we draw J to L. So we'll bring both points K and L to the level of point A, and we join K to L. Now we tick off the steps that we have completed so far. Yes, we are more than halfway done. I'll fold over the paper so we can focus on the sleeve, drawing the sleeve cap. Mark quarter of A to K for point M. Mark quarter of D to C for point N. Connect M to N and mark the halfway point as O. Now mark quarter of A to L for point P. Mark 1/6 of C to E for point Q. Connect P to Q and mark halfway point as R. I'll go over all the points in marker pen. Next, mark and draw half-inch guidelines at midway of the angles from N outwards, M inwards, P inwards, and Q outwards, just like this. I guess you're thinking we have so many points, but these points actually help make it a really smooth curve. We'll draw the sleeve cap, connecting all the points. So we'll connect the points from D to E for our sleeve cap. So this is the front and this is the back. We'll now draw our sleeve side seams to complete the sleeve. Next, we check that our armhole curve matches the sleeve cap. So I'm just going to check that by measuring it. So the armhole is 17¼ inches. I'll measure the sleeve cap. This is also 17¼ inches. We can also cross-check that they match by placing the armhole over the sleeve cap, just like I'm doing now. Yes, so that is the match. And we'll do the same for the front as well. And yes, that is a perfect fit. So we'll now mark the notch on the back. So halfway between E and R, we take that measurement and then add a ½ inches to it for the first notch, and then the second notch will come up with 1/4 inch for the second notch. So the same 2½ inches, and then we come up 1/4 inches for the second notch. So we have that. Now we do the same on the front. We take halfway point between D and O, and then we add ½ inches to that. So here I have 2 and 5/8 inches, and that is our notch. Now we'll mark the same on the armhole. So 2 and 5/8 inches, and we'll mark that notch. So we make sure that we transfer the notches to our pattern that we've already cut out. So here is our final pattern ready to be cut out on fabric.